G'day, bird nerds, nature nuts, habitat gardeners, citizen scientists, and urban field naturalists. You're all included and you're all welcome here today at the Bird Emergency. I have to say, we're doing something today that I haven't really ever done before, but I'll probably be using it more often because big news about what's happening in October and November, but we'll save that for afterwards, after we get through the citizen science part of the show. Now, citizen science has become really important because so many projects couldn't happen. We couldn't collect enough information for people to make informed decisions about populations and animal movements, all the survey and monitoring, not all of it, but an awful lot of it that happens now, especially with urban creatures, is done by you and me, our kids, our nephews, our neighbours, our friends on the footy team, whoever, on the netball club, using this with all the beautiful apps that have been designed, or open source websites. So we're going to talk about a lot of those projects today. And we're going to do that by running an interview with that guy, with Michelle Neal, who's the social media coordinator for the Australian Citizen Science Association. And we're going to talk about most of the current projects that are out there. Just before we start, what's coming up this week? Look at that. Thursday morning, I'm speaking with Janine Duffy from the Koala Clancy Foundation. Janine also runs Echidna Walkabout Tours, a bit of a trailblazer in the ecotourism space and how it can mesh with conservation activities. So I'm speaking with Janine. I've done an interview with Janine a couple of years ago now, but we're catching up Thursday, 10 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. I'm not sure if Holly's back next week or if it's still a week after that with the holidays. But on the 11th of October, we're back right in bird territory talking about the helmeted honeyeater with Ainsley Walters, who is, I think, working in the same or studying in the same group that Robert Ashworth is studying in, but she's doing her master's work on the helmeted honeyeater. So we're going to catch up and sort of trace the history of the efforts to save the helmeted honeyeater, the amazing community work, the cooperation between the zoos, the governments, other researchers and the friends groups, the captive breeding program to get that going. But now let's let me know too if you can't hear this when I start playing it. But this is a conversation that Michelle Neal and I had quite late at night a little while ago. So enjoy. I'll comment as we go along. Talk with Michelle Neal, who is the social media manager. Just let me know in the comments if you can hear the audio. And the citizen science. What was the right term, Michelle? I knew I'd get. I'm relying on you, Beth.
Thanks, Grant. I
just say social media guru, right? I'm just saying you're the person who makes it all happen and coordinates all the behind the scenes stuff with the Citizen Science Association of Australia, which is really a register and a support system, support network for all the different citizen science projects that are going on around the country, which is why we're talking. That's Michelle Neal. That's who we're talking with. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Grant. Well, thank you for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure. Regular watchers of the stream know that we. Beth, can you hear that all right? I'm assuming it's Beth still in the Holly, and of course there on YouTube. About the Red Rump Citizen Science project that's going on with Robert. So I wanted you to fill us in with what's happening elsewhere around the country that people can get involved in right now.
Okay. Well, if people want to, just if you're hearing this in a couple of months' time and you're like, oh, she had some good ideas. Where can I go to find out more information? If you go to our website, citizenscience.org.au, and under resources, there we have a project finder. So if you go into our project finder, as of today, there is 501 citizen science projects active currently that we are aware of in Australia and that people have put on our project finder. It is free to put your project on our project finder, but your project does need to follow the 10 principles of citizen science, which is also available on our website. At the moment, the latest bird, shall we say, because this is bird emergency. So if we do the latest citizen science projects for birds, there is the superb City Wrens project in the city of Melbourne. We have Flora and Fauna of Penrith, who's also about birds as well. We have a wildlife corridors for the scenic rim in Queensland. Land care groups around Australia are doing a lot of nest boxes sites at the moment, being as it is spring. We've also got Big City Birds, of course, which is out in force at the moment, being at nesting season. We've also got a bird. How do I say this? A lot of birds around the country, particularly our cockatoos, have figured out how to open bins.
That's right.
Rubbish bins, the old wheelie bins.
That's right.
And they make a mess. They make a heck of a mess. So if you have seen any of these in your area, please jump onto just Google bin opening survey cockatoos, and you'll find the bin opening survey on there. It's just a simple website Google form.
You will also find that through Big City Birds, I believe, too.
You can also find it through Big City Birds as well.
I think John told us that the other day.
Yeah, but that's a big one at the moment. They're wanting to see how widespread it is and how many bird flocks are teaching other bird flocks, and how social is this interaction as well. So I'm up in southeast Queensland. I have seen some of them trying to open bins, but they haven't got the hang of it yet. But we more likely see the ibis and the crows here pulling stuff out of bins, whereas we don't see the cockatoos so much. We've also got the University of Adelaide's feather forensics, tracing origins of lost parrots. And that's usually when a parrot is found, they want a test feather or something like that. So you can look on our website on our project finder for that one.
And we might actually make it easy, Michelle, if you can send me the links for everything, and I'll link on the. But we've got to do this, don't we? On YouTube, I'll put the links
here,
below.
down here.
Yeah. And I'll do a pretty link for it for direct to the register. So we'll make that the birdemergency.com/SitSciOz. There we go.
Yep.
I'm going to write that on my whiteboard right now so that I don't forget what it is. CITSCIOZ.
Yep.
There we are. I've done it. It's on the whiteboard, so I'll set that up. By the time I play this interview, after talking or while talking with Robert, it will be live. So
it will be live.
So there we are. I've already done it. How good am I?
Oh, that's amazing. So quickly too. It's just like that.
Magic. That's right. So also with the time that we were talking about, it's Grand Final week in Australia, AFL Grand Final week. So what's that? The 19th of September. It is today by the world of magic. So these are going on now, but there's some that are starting up soon as well, aren't there, Michelle? Are there bird ones as well soon that are starting soon, apart from the Great Aussie Bird Count?
Yes, there is. So, but some of them are also wanting birds as well as.
Yep.
So for example, if you're a school teacher,
and let's not limit it to birds. These are
Let's not limit it.
any cool projects for people to get involved in.
Yeah, so there's actually a national koala count on at the moment because it's koala month. It's also threatened species month. So a lot of these threatened species ones are coming up again as well. You've also got Great Southern BioBlitz starting to kick off very soon too. Technically, that's the end of October, but I know we're currently looking for more citizen scientists to put their hands up and be local area coordinators. Now, mostly here in Australia, that's run by LGAs, so you don't have to actually be a member of your LGA or an officer of your local government area to be involved. You can just sign up and say, I want to do, I want to do Tweed Head Council. I want to council area. I want to do, Moreton Island area, something like that. So there is 522, I think, LGAs in Australia. And I think so far we've only got about 23.
Oh, cool. Okay. Well,
so we really need a lot more. Now, Great Southern BioBlitz happens from the 28th to the 31st of October.
Now, we're going to be talking with some BioBlitz people, aren't we, on the show? So
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. So we'll have when we get closer to that, we'll have more on that. I might just say Koala Month. Thursday the 29th, I'm talking with Janine Duffy, so you can catch that at thebirdemergency.com/live or on the Facebook or the Twitch or the YouTube. Koala Clancy Foundation, Janine is part of, and we'll be talking about how they're connecting fragmented bits of habitat and doing revegetation corridors and whatnot. So that'll tie in nicely with the koala count. So that's good. I like it when we're all talking about the same thing and helping each other out.
Yep. There's lots happening. It's spring.
Yeah. Are there frog ones or reptile
frog
ones?
ID.
What's frog going on? Yeah, Jody Rowley's Frog ID is always going, isn't it?
It's always going. There is another one I want to have a quick chat to you about in Southeast Queensland, actually. If you're in Southeast Queensland and you have a dam or something similar on your property, if you go to watergum.com.au, I think they are, they're on the base of the Gold Coast, and they're actually running a cane toad challenge and a cane toad citizen science project. And one of the fun things about this one, this is actually how you can get rid of cane tadpoles in your local dam or waterway. And they basically just sell you a little bait, and the bait is actually made, and I'll tell you about the bait in a minute. They show you how to make a trap for it. You put the bait in the trap, dunk the trap halfway in the water in your local dam, and sit back and watch it for about 4 hours, and then pull it out at the end of that 4 to 5 hour mark. And you'll have all the tadpoles, only the tadpoles in there that are toads, though, will be in that trap.
So it's a toad-specific bait?
It's a toad-specific bait. Wow. It's the first one of its kind. It originally was invented by University of Queensland. And this one at the moment, so what they ask people with the cane toad challenge is they ask people to go out and get the cane toads, like actually physically go and grab them, put them in the fridge overnight, and then put them in the freezer for the next night. So basically kill them humanely. And then from there, send the parotid gland, which is the gland just behind the neck. You know, that big bulgy bit behind their eyes, right? Yep. Cut that off and send that in. And they actually blend that up and make that, there's a couple other processes involved, just so you know. But they blend that up and they make that into the specific pheromones in it and make that into the actual bait. So there's been records of people having like 50,000 toadlets in one trap. So yeah, there's watch this space.
This is the only kind of way that seems like an ongoing management tool that might actually reduce the numbers.
Actually reduce it. Yeah.
And have a chance of reducing the spread if physical collection as well as is stopping the repopulation might have a chance of working. Well, that I hadn't heard about
Yeah,
the
so that's the cane
pheromone
toad
bait.
challenge.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's the cane toad challenge from Watergum. So yes, by all means, have a look at that one. That one's really cool. I'm very excited. As an analytical chemist myself, I love the idea of using the pheromones against them.
Yeah, yeah.
And because they smell the pheromones of the adult toads, they come swarming to try and get rid of those adult toads. And that's how they end up eating each other, basically, and killing each other off.
But to secure the gland and send it in, that's obviously going to be a bit messy. So
Yes. So they do run training sessions of that. So have a look online and check when those training sessions are on. So it's watergum.com, I think, or watergum.org/cane toads.
you will give me the link, and
I
I
will give
will
you the link.
provide the
Yes,
link.
absolutely.
So
We'll
that
stick
will
it
be
up
cool.
along here,
The,
or wherever.
and I'm sure it's been through approval, an approval process, so that it's an ethical way of disposing
Correct.
of the toads.
And
So
they
don't
do run training
yeah,
courses with the
yeah.
ethics and everything approved.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yes,
So don't
absolutely.
so don't start thinking, oh no, that's going to be terrible. No, these things don't get past muster unless they're well and truly okay
No.
now.
It's gone through University of Queensland Ethical Board. It's done all of that, and then gone through Watergum as well. So yeah, it's right.
Terrific. Next one. What's the next
Oh,
one you'd like to
next
talk
one.
about?
Next one. Oh, what else we got? I think we've got a kangaroo one on at the moment in this month as well. We're gearing up for more bio blitzes as well during school holidays. You might find a lot of your local councils are actually doing how to use iNaturalist workshops. A
I
lot of
did
them coming out
see
at the moment.
I did see
Yes, a lot of
one
them.
on not on my local council, but the adjoining council have one on.
Yes.
So
So
that's
this
good.
is spring. This is the time where it's
Yep.
get out and have a look at what's around you.
Yep.
So it's really easy to use iNaturalist. It's basically download. Um, if I were you, I would use a rarely used email address, so you don't
Yep.
get bombarded with
Yep.
everyone saying what you've got, what you haven't got,
Yep.
all this sort
Yep.
of stuff. And
Unless you
sometimes
want
if you,
that.
unless you
Yeah.
want that, of
Unless you
course,
want that.
unless you want that,
Which
I use my regular email account, and I've managed to cull them out so they change a few things in there to say it, so it doesn't actually tell me every time someone comments. But I'm hoping to get my 1,000th observation next month. So I'm working up to it. I'm at 900 or so. So yes, I've got a little while to go yet. But yeah, iNaturalist is easy. There's great ways of. It's a great community online as well, particularly if there's something you don't know, because it's both an app as well as a website. So you start using the app, then jump on the website and have a look as well, and you have a lot more interactive and ability to figure out what's in your area. We're also encouraging teachers as well to jump on iNaturalist and figure out what's in their area that way too. How about bio blitzing your own school, for example?
yeah,
You know,
that's a great idea. I want to do my dog walk route that that
yep,
I that I mention pretty much every morning when I do the first seen and heard report.
yep.
Um, I sometimes it's pitch black when I do the walk, but and and, and to be honest,
Can I suggest one day you take out a UV light in the pitch black
I
and
may
see
do
what
that.
you see?
Yeah, I may do that. That's a very good idea. Um, actually, that's just given me another idea, but we won't talk about that now. That's just given me another idea. Um, yeah. So iNaturalist is great.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I I must admit, I'm so old school. I just find it really difficult to always be pulling the app out. Or, whereas I know you young people, Michelle, uh, are
We're
much
not
more.
that different in age, Grant.
Um, uh, there's a fair gap there. But yeah, just reminding people coming up to the Aussie Bird Count week
Mm-hmm.
as well. So you got to get in the habit of recording what you're seeing,
Hmm.
Um,
And
and
with that Aussie bird count, you can also take photos and upload to a
yeah,
naturalist at the same time too,
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
in previous
That's
years the Aussie bird count hasn't let you take photos.
yeah. I haven't tested the app, but I did see
Mm.
that was what's going to happen. But the other thing
Yeah.
I would also say, it's not really um, it's not really part of iNaturalist, but Google Lens is a great thing to do too if you're out and about and you see something and you're not sure if it, you know, I know my dog walk route is nearly all exotic plants. Sometimes it's just nice to know what something is. Now, iNaturalist will usually tell you, but I don't want to clog
Yes
up
and no.
iNaturalist. I don't want to clog up iNaturalist with things that are exotics anyway. If I know that there are
Well, that's
exotic,
no. Actually, don't. It doesn't clog it up. In
you
reality,
know
we've
what I
still got to know
mean.
where all these things are.
I know you, but you know what I mean. I want to.
I know, I know, I know.
I'm old
But
school. I just want to
one
put
one of the things I
my
tell people is,
favourites in
even if
there.
you don't get to upload it on that day, you know, just take the photo
Yeah,
because it
let's
still
do. All right,
GPS
let's do it.
locates it. Yeah, just still
Let's
take the photo.
let's
And then
do it.
one
All
day
right.
when you're having one of those, oh no, I broke my leg and now I have to sit in bed for the next 4 weeks waiting for it to heal, you've got something to do
All right.
because you can upload it 2 years later.
All right, audience. Please hold me to account regularly on Twitter or in the comments section on the website. Uh, please tell me to do it better from now on. I need to be I need to be nudged because I'm not very good at being regular with the apps. I just am not. So
Well,
I need to be better.
there's a few things too you need to know too if you are going to take photos of stuff. Sometimes, for example, with fungus, with mushrooms, you see a really cool fungus, you're like, oh, that's glow in the dark, that's great. But sometimes also taking a look at underneath the fungus
Yeah.
as well, where the actual
I was going
gills
to
are.
say,
You've
you
got to
always had to get underneath and get the gills
underneath.
underneath.
So
That's
when
often
I
how
go,
you identify them.
yeah.
Yeah.
So my little tip and trick at the moment is I actually have a little compact mirror. You know, the old fashioned compacts that
Yeah,
ladies
yeah,
used to
yep,
carry
yep.
all the time.
So you
And I
so you take a
pop in my
photo of the
pocket.
reflection. Yep,
Yep.
yep,
So I pop in my pocket, and that's what I take with me when I go
yep,
for a little BioBlitz walk
yep.
or something
And
like that.
and
My kids have the keep pulling me up and go, Mum, we're on a bushwalk and we've walked 3 meters. Come
that's
on.
right. Well, that's what I'm like. The horticulture tip, horticulturist tip: if you're out doing plants and flower, fruit, leaves, and bark, take them
Hmm.
all on the one plant if you can see
Yep.
them, because they all and if it's one of the smaller kind of plants, herbaceous kind of plant, often where the leaf joins the stem, sometimes there's a bud or something.
I was
That's a
gonna say
really
that.
good. That's the axil. The
Yep.
axillary buds or whatnot, or just the way that the stems attached to the branch are often the thing that helps the app, the AI, or somebody somebody looking at your photos identify what the plant is. So, yeah, one photograph of a plant is never enough unless it's a really, really obvious one to identify it. So,
Mm.
yeah, seed capsules, flowers, and as many photos as possible of different features of the plant will help. Um,
Yep. Yeah. Well,
so,
sometimes different angles of the flower as well.
yes,
You're getting
yep,
the stamen inside versus the petals versus the side
yep,
on view of where everything fits. It's
yep,
yeah, it can be quite complicated at sometimes, but
yep,
there's some amazing people out there that take brilliant photos, and you don't have to take it with your phone. You can actually take it with a proper camera as well and upload it later.
but you
There's a
can
way
take
you
it
can,
with your phone.
yeah, you can
You
take it with
can.
your phone, or you can
Because
take it with an actual camera and
yeah,
upload it later on the actual
yeah,
website. And you can do them as batches too. So if you go on Great Southern BioBlitz YouTube or Australian Citizen Science Association YouTube, there's actually how-to videos on there on how to do all
yeah,
that.
I,
Look for ones by the Beachcomber, Thomas Massalio.
yeah,
He's brilliant at it. Greg Tasney is another one to look out for our naturalist. He's got some amazing photos too.
um,
Grisper.
ju- just send me some recommendations, and
Mhm.
I'll include them on
Yep.
the page here so that people can easily find them and link to
Yep.
those creators as well, because it's there's so much good stuff out there for this. I mean, we could talk about this for hours, which is why we're going to do this. Let's do this semi regularly to keep on top of the good citizen. Every citizen science project is a good citizen science project. But
Well, I would be remiss then if I did not mention B&B Highway. So if you're a teacher or you've got kids at a school and you're listening to this podcast, Google B&B Highway. And this is a system that's trying to be set up here all over Australia. And it's birds, bees, and butterflies, particularly bees and butterflies. But if you get bees and butterflies, you'll get birds as well, right? And what you're trying to do is actually set up a B&B highway for birds, bees, and butterflies throughout every single school in Australia. So the idea is you have one garden bed at least that the kids take over, and the kids plant native plants and,
yep.
and things that will attract local species.
And non-native plants for
non-natives as well,
because a lot of
yep.
the butterflies and things will go to anything.
Yep. But then they monitor that over the course of a year, and they see what difference it makes, and see how many more butterflies they're attracting, and what time of year, what the phrenology is, when things are happening. So that's also a climate change thing as well. They can when things flower, if they're getting earlier or later, can be a example of climate change happening too. So this way is an interesting way for kids to get involved, and there's teachers in schools as well, not just primary but high school as well.
It's a really great initiative. I've been loving all the bee hotels that they've been promoting in Britain at the moment.
The bee hotels in Australia are funny because our native bees don't like ones that they usually get.
No, it's a different concept. We're much better going on with the, and I love that the schools are doing it, that we gradually build connections between all the different patches of gardens and native habitat and whatnot, which just allows birds, animals, and other creatures to move around so that they're not all isolated.
Yep.
And the scale for insects is obviously a lot smaller than it is for some of the bigger birds and whatnot. But for lizards and frogs and beetles and things, they all need a lot more connection. So I love that the schools are thinking about it. Hopefully all those kids will be home thinking about getting under paths and all those kind of things that, we try and think about in garden design and whatnot, but are often the first things that are left out when you've got to save money on a project. So
well, I'm a scout leader as well, and we actually do bee hotels, but we do them as little pieces of bamboo wrapped up in a string, attached to a tree, and covered with local clay. So they can actually grab the clay and put it in the pot. We also do another one called Zika Mozzie Seeker. I don't know if you've heard of that one.
Well, I know what Zika is, and I know what the Mozzies are, but I haven't heard about the project.
Okay, so this one's based in Brisbane.
Is this the Egypti? Is that
Egypti? Yeah. 80s Egypti. Yeah.
The same one. So
and a couple others.
It's the dengue mozzie as well. So
dengue, chikungunya, Zika, and a few others as well. And so basically, we don't have that yet in Australia, and I say the word yet, and they're trying to make sure we don't. But the only way to do that is to check people's backyards
and to reduce the possibility of the vector
of it coming
being
in
prevalent and moving it around.
So, what is it? Queensland Health's Metro South Health Department actually runs Zika Mozzie Seeker a couple of times a year, and you basically sign up and they send you out a little parcel, just a little envelope, and you get the kids, well, I get the kids, to set up these in the backyard. It's just all you need to supply is a bucket of water, and they supply everything else. You put the little pellet in the water, you put the little piece of paper, little strip of paper over the side of it, peg it on with a paper clip, leave it for 2 weeks. You're not actually trying to find the Zika, Mozzie mosquitoes. You're not trying to find their larvae. You're trying to actually trap the eggs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you send that in, and they've got a special camera there where they actually sit there and they take a photo of it, and the AI figures out how many
AI
eggs you've
works
got.
out which one it is, which species it is, and the
It doesn't
density
work
and
that
the
out. They've actually got to hatch them first.
okay.
So they hatch them then,
and
then they
then
work
they
out how many
recognise
you've
it,
got.
and then they have the
Yeah.
density. They can make a population density
Yes. Exactly.
assumption based on the.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good. Great.
And the best thing about this particular one that I love is the fact that it's got a health aspect. It's also got an environmental aspect. It's also got something that kids can do. And on top of that, what you're really trying to find out is a null value.
That's right.
So for most,
like we say with the wedge-tailed eagle count, the where wedgies, zeros are heroes. Yep.
Yep.
That's right.
So this is one of those ones where you want a zero. You don't want to find those nasty mosquitoes. You want to be free of those nasty areas. So yeah, it's one of those things that's really great. There's another one in South Australia which they've also just put into, I think, Sydney, Victoria, and Queensland, called Aussie Monitors, and that's actually run through what do you call it? I just said it before, iNaturalist.
Yeah.
So you capture the mosquitoes in a special mosquito trap, which you have to buy. That's about $80, but it's a once-off thing. Once you're done, you're done. And then every week you go back, you open it up, the mosquitoes are deceased inside, and you take photos on a round piece of paper with a circle on it, about 10 centimeter circle, which you can draw yourself.
The size and the densities of that too. Yep.
And you post that photo up on iNaturalist, and they'll tell you, you add it to that project, and they'll tell you what's in it.
Very cool. Is there are there any reptile or herpy projects going on, or any plant projects going on at the moment, Michelle?
There's quite a few from biosecurity that are doing ones. In particular, I've noticed ones popping up pretty recently about what do you call them? They usually grow in the desert, but we don't actually have any here. And I can't remember the cactus.
Oh, so we don't actually pears.
Yeah, we don't actually have any native cactuses in Australia. So any cactus you see is introduced.
Yeah, so very, very popular in gardens, but
that love to escape.
And of course, in the warmer climates, and of course, prickly pear was if anyone's seen those photos from the 30s and 1930s, where large swathes of farms were just taken over by them. They introduced a caterpillar to take care of them, and it worked for a while, but they're getting back on top, aren't they?
Yeah, if you actually head between Brisbane and Toowoomba, you'll actually see whole swathes of them along the side of the road.
Yeah. Well, they were very, very irregular. Like you'd see one or two. When I think we were discussing before we pressed go.
Yep.
I used to live up there, and that drive out to Toowoomba, and actually all over the sort of Darling Downs and beyond, you just see just a few plants here and there, but no, they've
popped up everywhere. Yeah. We've had a lot of rain.
Yeah. And the floods disperse the fruiting bodies that are lying in paddocks and whatnot. So they've been shifted all over the place over the years. Michelle,
so there's a lot of those ones as well.
Yeah. So you'll fix me up with those links, and I'll have them in the description. And not so much in the description. I'll actually link them on the page here. If people have got questions, there's two things you can do. One, follow the link direct to Citizen Science Association of Australia page, which is going to be here. That way they can find you through your socials, or you could leave something in the comments on this page, and then and this is the bird emergency page /live or the link to this episode page. And anything that I don't know the answer to easily, I will forward on to Michelle. And then that's
what I do.
That's a beautiful thing. So if you've got an idea for a citizen science project, you really should be talking to someone like Michelle, because she'll know where to direct you if you need to get approval or advice or some motivation or some assistance. So
yeah, I have one more if you want to.
Good.
Okay,
let's go.
So this one's actually started up during lockdown, and it's ongoing, and it's on iNaturalist, and it's one I helped someone set up, and it's about birds. So it's ticking all the boxes here. So you know the African tulip trees, right?
Yes.
So introduced species.
Yep.
Bit of a pain in the butt around the place. A lot of our rainbow lorikeets tend to like them, but when they do, they end up falling out of the trees and sometimes injuring themselves.
Well, this is to do with lorikeet paralysis syndrome. Is that right? Right.
That's correct.
And Michelle, I'm not sure if you're aware, but we've spoken to Prof. David Phelan a couple of times about this. So this is an extension of his project, I'm guessing, which is the
this was actually started by a citizen science, a concerned citizen.
Oh, well, there we go. Well, I'll link to both because they've both got different value.
Yes.
Understanding different things. So great.
Yes. So in this one, not only do you take a photo of the bird in question, but also the tree.
And
so they can link the two.
Do you geolocate the tree? Is that the...
Yes. You geolocate the bird and you geolocate the tree.
Yeah, great.
And then add them physically to the project. Yes.
Yeah. I think... sounds like it's probably in some way connected with what David's one was doing, because that was what they were wanting to do too, is particularly geolocate the trees so that they knew where the potential problem areas are, and maybe if there may need to be an eradication program or something way down the track. So, but first we've got to understand what the scope of the problem is and where it is, and understand the disease better. So, and also,
what happens?
I shouldn't say
what happens disease,
if the syndrome.
The syndrome, What happens if it's on someone's property? Who's then in charge of getting rid of that tree, and how, and the money involved, and
that's right. So it's a fact finding mission.
Yes.
So, very good. Oh, there's lots of bird projects there. I didn't expect there to be quite so many, Michelle. So
124, I think, at last count.
Of bird projects going on.
And that's the only ones we know about.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Right. So we can talk about this for a while.
Well, we do need to talk about it more often, and maybe we can highlight some more of them and get some of the people involved or past participants or something talking about it as well, because we often talk about the fact that there's no money for science, but there's plenty of people who want to do science. So let's utilise it.
That's where we come in.
That's right.
Tell us what you want to do. We'll show you how to help.
That's right, and of course it's a whole movement that's run on the enthusiasm of volunteers, which is we've all got to get behind and support that, I reckon. So terrific, Michelle. Thanks. I know you will send me all of that stuff so that I can make it easy for everyone to go from here to there, and we'll do this again soon.
No worries.
I can do something that I've always wanted to do.
What's that?
Right, Grant. Now it's back to you in the studio.
That was fun.
So, I'm back. We're back. There's the there's the link to get to citizenscience.org. Let me drop that off now. So what we can do is do some questions, or if you want. There are a few that I noticed in that discussion that Michelle didn't actually send to me. So I will update the page, but the page is up now with that recording on the page. So if you want to watch it again, you can. Yeah. So I would just like to let you in on a few things that are coming with the bird emergency. Now, but again, I'm just prompting you, if you do have a question or a comment, do make it now, and I can respond to it. But so we're continuing on with the regular sessions with Holly, and of course that's focusing on urban birds. It's just been really difficult to get Holly with. You're probably not aware, this is real inside baseball kind of stuff, but there's a time of the year where all the grants get awarded, or you need to apply for them, and that means then everyone's got to do budgeting. So all these bodies that get grant money either spend, a couple of months writing and assessing grants and then waiting for approval, but they've got to, if they've got money left over from a previous grant, they've got to find out a way to spend it rather than just filling up the stationery cabinet with paper clips. And and then there's been holidays and all kinds of stuff. So it's been really difficult for Holly and I to actually find the time to get together, but it's going on. But I'm starting an experiment in October and November. And there's two things. There's going to be a habitat gardening Twitter starting, but also a habitat gardening YouTube. And I'll also be putting that stuff into the Twitch that I use here, and I'll be starting a Facebook group as well. Now, these are all sort of experiments, but I don't want to annoy the hardcore bird people with so much of the bird adjacent content that I've been doing lately. But the bird adjacent content is really popular, so I want to pull it out of the bird emergency podcast. So I'll be concentrating more, not more than the podcast. The podcast will still get its, weekly bird stuff and the occasional bonus, but most of the other bonus stuff will come over to the habitat gardening side of it. But it'll all be in the one website. You'll just go to a different spot to find all the habitat gardening stuff. If it grows and if it's popular, I'll have to spin it off into another website. Probably interested in your comments too, whether you think that's a good thing or not. But and starting October 1, I'm going to be doing something live like this every day on different platforms. And they won't all be the same kind of format, but I'll be continuing with First Seen and Heard, which goes out on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and is that all? Four places. I'll probably start logging all of those on the Bird Emergency website as well. And the idea is to try and get more people just interested in what's around them, and then maybe taking part in some of the urban naturalist field nat kind of activities. They don't have to be formal, but just noticing what's around you and then getting interested in identifying things. And it all ties in with all the things that I'm into, creating habitats with gardens, finding spaces for wildlife to live around us, being less damaging by the things that we do in our everyday lives. I used to work for a company that sold the worst chemicals and stuff in the garden trade, and we hadn't really learned in the it's 20 years since I was doing that, 22 years. It's different, and I want to share what I know and what I've learned so that other people, be they my age or an awful lot younger, can can make a difference. Every small difference helps. So if you're interested in the stuff that I talk about and that I'm interested in, there'll be different things. I'm going to put a lot more effort into Facebook, so you can easily find the Bird Emergency on Facebook by going to thebirdemergency.com/Facebook. There we are, Beth. Let me just pull that up. What have we got? Citizen economics. Let's see. That's a really interesting thing, Beth. I don't know if you saw, recently I interviewed Joanna Clute, who has is developing a business and a key performance indicator assessment process for businesses to actually become greener. It's called Green KPI. The interview's up on YouTube. They expire on Twitch, so it's up on YouTube. I haven't posted it yet on the Bird Emergency. And in the last week or so, I interviewed Bill Bovingdon, who is a fund manager as part of the Australian Unity Group, and he is one of the people who gets investment funds and then puts them into sustainable funds that then fund different projects. And we had a really good discussion about what sustainable was, and I sort of called bullshit on the term and the word of green when biodiversity isn't part of the framework for assessing the projects. But to Bill's credit, he's trying to move an industry towards these things, and so that the benchmarking and the assessment of projects moves forward. So while it's really easy to be sitting here on the sidelines and bitching about everything, I want to find ways to get the people who are making decisions and who have the influence now to move towards making things better. I really hope it's not too late for some of the species that I'm always talking about, and I suspect it might be. But I'd encourage you to have a look. That's actually on the live page, that discussion still. I don't know if I did a really good job or not in the conversation, but turns out that Bill left Monash University from doing economics and the year before I started there. So we had a couple of the same economics. We had the same economics stat lecturer, so we were able to talk about that before we went into the sort of combative discussion. It wasn't that combative. It was just I really appreciate that Bill was prepared to come on and have the chat. So I hope people will go and watch it and make up their own minds. And all these decisions are personal. I'm not sure if you follow me on Twitter, but I believe every decision that we make, every choice we make is a political choice. You can choose to get your coffee in a disposable cup or in a keep cup, or to take your own cup. You can choose whether you are buying foods that are packaged in stuff you don't need. I haven't done anything radical at all in my life, but I'm now basically plant only. I haven't made any big decisions about that. I just stopped buying stuff and I started eating tofu and a whole lot more vegetables. Everything is better in my life. We are really careful about what we purchase in terms of packaging and everything now. So we don't need to put our bin out every week. We might put our bin out every second or third collection. Same with the recycling stuff. Just keep building up the worm farm. We doing the compost. Just there's little simple things you can do that make a big difference. So, well, but I'm not a fool enough to think that every one of us little consumers is going to change the world. But if we signal the way we're going, it helps to push the people with the money, the resources, and the decision-making power in all the boardrooms across the country and across the world to do something different. And we just have to keep talking about it. We have to make our families, our friends, our neighbours, our acquaintances, our employers, our employees. Everybody's got to just be more aware of what they're doing. And then if we all make little choices, we can get rid of a lot of the damaging things. And, then when we get the opportunity to exercise our vote, then we can make the strategic decisions about supporting greater gliders rather than supporting habitat reduction. And it might mean you make some uncomfortable choices politically. You might need to decide that this election you are voting for koalas and other furry creatures and birds rather than a decrease in your tax situation or more beneficial superannuation treatment or something. Maybe for a couple of elections we have to go that way. But anyway, I don't want to be all political today. That's another one of the reasons why I'm going to be doing more live stuff. And it's a test to see what works and what doesn't. So October and probably November, I'll be going live somewhere every day. So the alerts will go out on those platforms, but also Twitter. So if you're interested, Twitter, and there's my handle on the screen @BirdEmergency. That'll be the best place to find out what's going on. The Twitch stuff is going to be a lot more conversational. How can you get more conversational than most of my interviews? But a lot more relaxed, and we'll be doing Sunday sessions. I'm looking to introduce Seabirds Saturday, so if seabirds are your thing, that'll probably grow to include seabirds and shorebirds, talking with people particularly about those. So, yeah, and I'm just going to try and I'll be speaking with some of the trailblazers in the horticulture industry, the revegetation scene, land care. So, but they'll all be found on the new sort of feeds. There'll be a new YouTube. It'll be the same Twitch for habitat gardening. It's Habitat Gardening with Grant is the channel on YouTube. Now, there's nothing on it yet, but that will start in October. And that will probably grow into me going to do events and things at nurseries, and yeah, I'll just be really interested to see what people are interested in. I might as well use the skills that I spent years getting and then didn't use for so long. So that's it. That's the thought. So any thoughts or comments from those of you live with me now? Because I don't really have a whole lot more to say unless we've got some questions or some comments to extend the discussion. I hope you enjoyed, Michelle, by the way. And if you haven't caught the conversation I had with the Urban Field Naturalist project about their field guide, and you're interested in citizen science stuff, do have a look at that. Do get the book. And I'm hoping to have individually all of that team on either the bird emergency or habitat gardening with Grant, depending on what their field is. They're all great characters. Of course, John Martin's well known with the wing tags and big city birds. So that's what's coming up. That's the news. Anything further in the chat, in the comments? Doesn't look like it. All right, we're getting out of here early. I'm pretty disciplined today. I can't believe we're getting out of here on about an hour. That's pretty good. Well, thanks for being with us. Beth, I want you to tell me what's that number one history chick? Is that what your icon is? Just tell me a bit about what the history is. Just feed my curiosity. I don't know if you can hear my neighbours. We have a Vietnamese karaoke and part-time band next door, and they've fired up. They're doing rehearsals today. That's good. All right. Well, that's hello. Welcome, Facebook. Who was that? Oh, that's Michelle. I can't bring that in. I can't put the thumbs up in. Michelle, we've just done the whole rerun of the conversation. I did notice, Michelle, I'll just let you know, I don't think I have a link to the lorikeet project. That's the one we talked about that we didn't have, and also the kangaroo count. The other ones I went through as we were running through, and I don't think I've got those links. So since you're here, get up there. You can send that to me, and I'll get that page re-updated. It's up now, by the way. So yeah. Okay, Beth. While we're chatting, what was that? Postmodern take that no one history is true. That's exactly right. Gee, I'll have to read something of yours. Send it through to me, either on a Twitter DM or on the email or something. Get me something good to read about that. Yeah, everyone's history is based on their own perspective, and as we all know, that with conflict and whatnot, the winner writes the history, don't they? Just have a look at what's going on in the Philippines now with how they've managed to rewrite history in the space of 25 years. It's unbelievable. Anyway, Michelle, glad you could make it. Thanks, Beth, for your input. And unless anyone's got anything to add, have you got anything to add, Michelle, since you're in the room? It's quite weird playing a re-record and watching myself on the in the comments. So weird. No, okay. Well, again, it's been an absolute pleasure to be with you. Michelle, I'll be we'll probably just leave our thing on the website rather than throwing it out in the podcast feed, and we'll just keep promoting everything and look forward to the next session. Now, the next session I'm doing with Michelle is in the middle of October. It'll again be one of our late night chats, so we'll do a replay thing like we're doing now, and I might bring another citizen scientist in so we can have a bit of a chat afterwards. Looks like, Michelle, you're probably on your lunch break. We might be able to get you in the comments next time on your lunch break too. Be cool. Okay, everyone. Thank you. Been great presenting citizen science to you. Get involved. Let's just put this up one more time. And so that's where you can find all the projects, but of course you can find everything at the birdemergency.com/SitSciOz, which is up live and now. And I would encourage you every morning, report your first seen and heard bird and stick it up on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram with the hashtag first seen and heard. And we'll try and all be amazed by each other's morning sights, morning delights. Thanks, everyone. I'm Grant. I'm a bird nerd. This is the Bird Emergency. See you later.